Hello, Hamster Sales here with another Starcraft commentary. Today we have a Zerg vs. Zerg on Tal Darim Altar, a giant map as some of you may know. I'm the red Zerg in the upper left. My opponent is this guy, Solid Doc, in the lower left. Late Overlord scout by my opponent here, getting his macro in order. Something you hear me say a lot, give a lot of excuses for myself and my fellow players in this division. We're platinum level players, we're not the best. Not making tons of money. Maybe he has good reason. You know, sometimes I'm afraid to scout with my overlords on larger maps because I'm afraid I might not get to their base before I might get to their base as a queen is popping, something like that. But no, he starts to move it. He just forgot. No reason to keep your overlord in your base. Always want to scout it. I'm really just making excuses here. Anyway, as you might see in the title of this video, this game I go Banelings. I go for a Baneling attack. I'm going to be putting the all-in, Baneling all-in in quotations because I frankly find it kind of silly when people call things all-in. The idea behind calling something as all-in is that if it doesn't succeed, you're automatically going to lose the game. At least that's what it should mean. People tend to just say all-in when it's just an aggressive move of some kind. That's just a quibble I have with some of the terminology people use. The reason I definitely don't consider what I'm doing an all-in is the fact that when you get aggressive with a decent build, you are probably going to do some damage. So it's no more or less risky than opening a hatch first. Speaking of, oh no, I thought he went hatch first in this game. I played it a couple of days ago. Anyway, I'm going to talk about some of the decisions I make, some of the decisions my opponents make based on this map size. This is a really big map. So sometimes as Zerg we think we can get away with some silly stuff like a hatch first. He doesn't go hatch first in this game. I thought he did for some reason. But yeah, you always want to be aware of the map. And generally on smaller maps than a Zerg vs. Zerg, you always want to get a fairly early pool, as both of us have done here. We both made a... Oh, well, we're doing it on a big map. Sorry, losing my train of thought a little bit there. Please bear with me. But we both went for an earlier pool, which is a strong build to do no matter what type of map you're playing on in Zerg vs. Zerg. You have to do it automatically on the smaller maps, I think is what I was going towards. But both of us electing to do it here on a bigger map for fear that the other might get aggressive anyway. I actually have a build in mind. I have a Baneling build in mind that I've been wanting to try out. I haven't been a big fan of early gas builds, but it's something I realize is necessary against Zerg vs. Zerg now. You want to get the super quick speed to at least start out with. Even if you're going Roach later down the road, you want to get that quick speed. So I've been putting my gas down on 13 and more recently on 14. I think I did in 13 this game. So that's something you can try out. If you're a Zerg player like myself, try to get that gas earlier in a Zerg vs. Zerg if you're not doing that already, with the idea of getting speed with your first 100 gas. For this build, the next gas I had planned was the 50 for this Baneling nest, and then I'm actually going to cut gas, I think, around 150 in this game, with a desired number of Banelings in mind. Yeah, here I'm cutting drones off gas, just putting them onto these minerals, because I want to get, what can I get, about 6 Banelings with that, and then I'm going to try to follow up with Speedlings, just do massive damage with the Banelings, 2 Zerglings, hopefully drones too, and follow up with a flood of Speedlings into his base. Now he is just not getting very many units for Zerg vs. Zerg. Let me finally bring up the production tab here. There we go. He is droning up like a madman. 7 drones finishing up there. I'm building up a pack of rabid Zerglings instead. We can see he is up 6 harvesters on me, so he's not even really doing that great at the macro game. He's going to suffer a lot for having just transferred his drones even. He's going to be losing income during that time. And I'm going to say I'm executing this build pretty well, considering I don't usually go very aggressive. If you may have watched some of my other videos, I tend to stay back and be passive, but I was losing so much in Zerg vs. Zerg that I decided to switch stuff up. So yeah, getting those 6 Banelings, still not getting any gas. I mind 12 extra gas, but what can you expect out of me, people? So I've produced a ton of Zerglings. I'm starting to pull a lot of minerals, which I don't like, but he has 250 unspent minerals as well, and virtually no army to speak of here. He's getting a Spine Crawler, only has 2 Zerglings. It's almost 7 minutes into a Zerg vs. Zerg, has no scouting on the map, and he is just not prepared for this. I think he got too comfortable with the big map. Just didn't anticipate that I might be going for Banelings, and there is the quick leave the game, no GG. Something I do myself. You know, you realize you got caught with your pants down, and you just leave the game. Don't like that play from him. I've done similar things in ZvZ. I just am hoping for a macro game, but sometimes a macro game is not given to you, and that's something as a player you need to learn to figure out. And that's why we keep up on scouting. He was not flooding the map with overlords. He did not see my attack coming. Didn't have a chance to really produce an army to prepare. Was completely unprepared for Banelings. I don't think he ever scouted my base. If anybody was watching this replay and saw that he did, but please correct me, but I don't think I saw him ever scout my base. I was able to waltz in here virtually unopposed, completely destroy him. Only 7 minutes into a Zerg versus Zerg. Which for me was very fortunate at the time. I had to get to work, so I really wanted to try out this build I'd been thinking about. Just a fairly standard Baneling timing attack. Something I definitely need to work on is not pulling up 600 minerals. What am I doing here? I even got an extra hatch, so without that I would be sitting on 900 minerals doing absolutely nothing. Was not producing Zerglings and Overlords constantly, clearly. So that's something I want to work on next time if I try something like this again. It's not always going to work. In fact, Zergs are usually much more aggressive. But yeah, use this as an example from this guy. I'm sure he's otherwise a good player. Might have just messed up this game. Solid doc. Solid doc probably much more solid than this normally, but don't do what he did here. Don't play blind macro game, especially in Zerg versus Zerg. You will get run over by Banelings, even by a player like me who doesn't usually do it. So I hope that was helpful. I hope it was fun. If anybody does see this video, I've been posting in a few forums trying to get people to look at my stuff, trying to improve my commentary style, trying to hopefully give some helpful tips for players like myself, platinum level, trying to get better, trying to learn how to rotate the camera, cool stuff like that. Yeah, hope somebody enjoyed it, and please watch and comment. Thank you.